Is it a good strategy to use intermittent distraction to increase your ability to focus for long periods of time on something serious? Let me think about that. I think I'm a little over caffeinated here. Is it a good strategy to use intermittent distraction to increase? Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, I think I know what you're saying. Um, I yes, and I think that's more because of an energy problem. It's kind of like running or something what do you call it? People who do high intensity interval running. I am a believer in that with exercise and with cognitive things. And the reason hopefully I can explain this in like one sentence, but I think doing something graphical here is I think there is a little bit of a, let me make my pen as fat as possible. Here we go. There's a little bit of this kind of curve going on whenever you get into something. It takes you a little bit while to ramp up, and then you have so much good energy, and then you start ramping down. And so I think if you stick with something too hard and too long, as you're suggesting, I think you're suggesting, you sort of get burned out, and the quality of your attention goes down over time. So if you right around here, you take a break, you get another one of these curves, and you just get more area under the curve, so that when you get back into it, let me color this in here. Say this is what you before you took a break. You just take a hard break, even though you're on a trajectory where you could keep going. You take a hard break, you go for a walk, you come back, and then you might have this extra cost of not only taking a break, but now you have this extra cost of like getting back into your thing, because you can't just sit down and be like, oh yeah, calculus. Like you have to get back into it. But the idea is that over time, this is actually more efficient. I think this is just like an energy management thing, and I think if you exercise, a lot of things lend themselves to this pattern. As you well put, just to read the question aloud for everybody again, good strategy to use intermittent distraction to increase your ability to focus for long periods of time on something serious. Yes, I think sustained focus is actually one of the hardest things to train, and it's a very exhausting and painful. Like I've actually trained participants in labs to increase what do we call it? Something like sustained focus. Their sustained focus ability, and if you ask them, if you survey people, it's one of the most unpleasant things for them to do. They get it better at it so slowly. Like you have them practice for like an hour a day for a month, and they will get better, but it's painful and it's slow. So yeah, I think that's a good point. Thanks. No problem. Thank you for the question. I appreciate it. I really do.